Alrighty then, it's time for a Jungle Dr. Mundo. Yay. Which one? Or should I say Lucha Mundo? Aired on Telemundo. Anyways, I kind of just love the fact that I get to play with all these skins, but fun fact, I already owned like half of his skins anyways. I just have this weird thing about owning skins for champions that probably don't even get played. Anyways, I'm doing a buff to buff clear, mostly because the enemy is Lee Sin, and Lee Sin would just want to, he just thirsts to kill the low health having Dr. Mundo. It's just like very terrifying your first clear as Dr. Mundo because you basically don't have any health unless you do some little cheap tricks when you kite around, and you kind of have to take a certain keystone in order to make it at least a little bit healthier. But once you're done with your first clear and you buy your upgraded jungle item, or at least your smite item, it becomes rather easy from then on. Also, again, just for those who don't really know that I do this a lot, on certain very old school junglers, I tend to take exhaust instead of flash because at some point or another, the cooldown of flash just kind of works against you and it doesn't really add too much to certain champions. Anyway, small duel breaks out and you can see the exhaust and the red smite help me out against Lee Sin, although Karthus' interference got me killed. Though a 1-for-1 is okay, and I get to loop around and take the Scuttle Crab anyways. But yeah, Exhaust has a better cooldown, and honestly, in most cases, I'm just going to be running around in front of people, and I get to exhaust a vital target, and hopefully don't get killed in the process of doing so. In this game, I'm going with the Spirit Visage first, mostly because the enemy Karthus, I was sort of hoping he wouldn't become a nuclear missile, and my idea was to try to run at him and shoo him away, because if he does anything to my team, like gets on top of them and starts using his Q to nuke them and using his defile to, well, defile my team, I'm pretty sure that would be the biggest threat. By the way, I gotta love this. Lee Sin shoots his Hadouken, and he's holding it, so I stop attacking it because I know he can't go over it, and eventually he has to press his Q or it will run out, so he just Qs into it. Not enough health to smite it down. He spites it anyways in an attempt. It just dies. It's just like he's holding it. No, attack it. Oh, he died anyway. It's kind of fun. Like, just, it's hard to do that sometimes in solo queue where everybody pays attention. It's like, no, stop what you're doing and hold back a little bit. Just wait. Sometimes waiting does more than, trying to push through. It happens with Baron. It happens with, well, mostly happens with Baron where, the steal is coming in, but they don't wait for the cooldowns, or they don't wait for someone to shoo away the target or keep surveillance or any of that. That's why Lee Sin tends to steal camps easily. Anyways, he fights me, rests my passive keeps me alive along with the exhaust. That thing is just probably trolling the enemy team super hard at this point. As you can see in the all chat, he's just not having it. He's just not happy about the exhaust. But yeah, I love having the exhaust on me. But yeah, going with Spirit Visage first, since it obviously helps out Dr. Mundo a lot, but again, just mostly to deal with the Karthus. And then I'm going to be working towards, obviously, armor, because most of the enemy team is with armor. I'm leveling up my E second with the idea just to try to kill somebody, but I was thinking of using the W, or ranking up the W2, just so, for to gain its great benefits against the enemy team. Although if they burn the crowd control on me, they're kind of having problems there, and they do have a slew of slows, which can be a big issue, but not too much. Anyways, one of the big items that I haven't really seen a lot of people buy anymore is Randuin's Omen, and it's going to be one of the key items I purchase, although it comes much later into the game. I'm going to say it now, just so I can build upon why I built that item. Look at the enemy team. They don't have any mobility except Lee Sin, and even then Lee Sin, for at least the initiation, is going to have sort of a hard commitment. He has to Q in and maybe he'll use his W to survive or do something, but once he does that, he's going to get hit by the Randuin's Omen, or at some point he's just not going to matter anyways. He'll get blown up, or he'll get pushed away by the Thresh, or blown up by the Annie, because she kind of has this murderous intent of destroying the Lee Sin every chance she gets. But anyways, that's another dragon for us. We're gonna get another blue dragon too. Anyways, as I said, with Randuin's Omen, I can just beeline them through them. Hopefully, or at least the intention is to go through Nasus and ignore him, and just beeline to his backline, Randuin's Omen them, and harass them. So Nasus gets isolated and hopefully picked off, and then we just kill the rest of them. I might die doing that because that's likely going to take the aggro of 3 or 4 people. But hopefully, that works out. That's my intention, which is why I'd be building Randuin's Omen. or at least eventually building Random Omen. Irelia got absolutely destroyed by Nasus. I try to pick a fight with him, and I try to get out of his little E, or else he'd burn me alive. But eventually he beats the shit out of me. And he shows up just in time to finish off Nasus too. And I believe she does also kill the Karthus before she bails. You know, here's one interesting thing, or at least, I mean, you've already noticed it. This Nasus is a giga threat. He's just kind of annihilating and chunking people. He's been, at least, I think he's been farming his Q more than he's just been farming with auto attacks or anything. So he's hitting ridiculously hard. And it's going to become more apparent as the team fights go on. So he's going to become the biggest threat, which also gives me more credence with the whole Randuin's Omen choice, because just slowing him down a little bit more, controlling him from destroying my teammates, is a pretty good idea. Anyways, you can see he just runs amok and just forces everything back. We can't really pick a fight with him because he chunks anybody he hits. You know, like at this point you can see that just it's brutal. And honestly, I gotta give credit to Lee Sin. I think he makes really terrible decisions, but mechanically he was pretty good throughout this whole game. So at the very least, I consider that this game, that the teams are rather even. You know, both team comps are rather wonky, but you know, the player ability seems to be mostly on par. So we give chase, and the only one who's caught off is the Karthus. But you can look at my armor, magic resistance when I click on Dr. Mundo in a second. It's just like Karthus is going to tickle me, and he's going to try to use his ultimate for some reason, and it's just like it doesn't do anything. It's just kind of sad. And after that, I go right after Herald, you know, paying him a visit, hopefully getting him to push alongside me. Because like I said, both team comps are rather wonky. We don't really have an initiator on either team except some weird initiation with Annie going flashing and hopefully, you know, getting someone important. But doing so will probably put her next to Nasus, who will break her face in. And enemy team's only quasi-initiation would be a Karthus wall and hopefully like a really glorious Lee Sin kick, and that's kind of it, or an Anami wave. So both teams are kind of having to brute force and just smash each other's faces into each other, and that's kind of the best they have. We both have going for each other. Though the thing about that is we have Dr. Mundo. And Dr. Mundo is probably one of the best ones at doing that. I could just literally run up to them, and they have to back away, because if they burn anything on me, it's pretty much a complete waste. The only thing they're going to take away from me is probably my ultimate, but they're going to be burning a lot of things for no reason, and then my teammates will hopefully take advantage of that. At least that's the intent. But you can see, me not having armor is kind of a big deal at that point. I got super chunked down there. So I go back and I start building towards it. I bought Mercury Treads, but I regretted that. I feel I either should have bought the Boots of Swiftness or I should have bought a Ninja Tabite, just because you can see the Nasus is just giga smashing everybody he fucking touches at this point. Hell, even if he hits me, he hurts pretty badly. And unfortunately, he just kind of gets away. And then Irelia gets killed by the Karthus. Again, it's a pretty even game, all things considering. The only big change of difference is the CS between a few players, but it's mostly Karthus and Annie, and it's pretty much, and well, also the Ashe, but mostly because she was DC, and so that's unfortunate for her. If she didn't DC, it probably would be even more evenly so. And then Karthus, unfortunately, just gets caught off guard, and to the point where, if you rewind it a little bit, you would have seen that even I was surprised, like, whoa, what the fuck? Karthus is right here. So burn him down. Nasus goes on his little rampage. I get saved by the lantern, but you could have seen he chunked even me down. Of course, I don't really have that much armor, but still. And by the way, I love this part where I just completely ignored Nasus and just went after the Nami, who I think was assuming we were all beelining or just, you know, tunnel visioning on Nasus, but, you know, she died, failed her flash in a panic, and you can see that Nasus has essentially become the raid boss right now, and dealing with him is an issue unto itself. But like I said, or at least like I showed with Nami, if I can ignore the Nasus and just go through him and take out the Karthus, especially the Karthus, or the Ashe, or the Nami, or just anybody important, then we should be able to win, because the rest of my team can control the Nasus long enough for me to kill somebody, or for the Nasus' ultimate to wear off and him become less effective. So yeah, Warden's Mail is being built here. At one point, I thought maybe buy Dead Man's Plate, but I felt that, you know, damage on me is pretty much pointless. Surprisingly, they completely ignore the fact that we're doing Baron, so he easily just nabbed this. It's just kind of right there, and we kill it. The Ness is just sort of there, and Karthus ults for kind of no reason. And you can see at this point, it's not really doing anything for us. It's mostly because of his bad CS. They stop us from recalling for some reason, which ends up being, this is actually really embarrassing. I can't even hit this Ashe with like Q, and it's just like I run at her, and God damn it. I can aim cleavers, but I can't aim chairs. Then Nasus comes in and puts himself in front of her, which is pretty good, defending her and saving her, and then I have to just bolt out of her with a lantern. That's really embarrassing. I know some of you right now are cringing super hard for seeing me fail so much, and her just getting away with just a little bit of health. Once again, the Lee Sin gets caught because he's blind and can't see and dies, and we get ourselves our third blue dragon, which is just like insane for our regenerations. But yeah. But now I Randuin's Omen, we catch Nessus, and here's what I mean. I just gonna try to blitz right through him, and then just Randuin's Omen, and just go for the backline, forcing them away, and just sort of shoving them off, and the rest of my team collapsing on whoever I put behind me, and that's kind of it. You only got to see that near the end, because at this point it's pretty much over, but that was going to be the game plan throughout the rest of the game if it went out any longer, and that's kind of how you play Dr. Mundo. There's just this immobile wall of blubber and health, and just, slowly massacre everything along your way, or draw your aggro, an aggro tank. But yay for Dr. Mundo. I got to play him again and not feel useless. Mucha lucha. And if you liked this video, remember to give it a like. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure to hit the little bell up there somewhere so you actually get notifications to my videos, because YouTube and stuff.